Okay, so this video is going to go over the 5 slides that I hooked up to the assignment for today. Today being Wednesday, okay? So what I wanted to remind you is that water self-ionizes. What the heck does that mean? That means at a very low rate, 2 water molecules will combine and form a hydroxide ion and a hydronium ion. Now, this happens at a very, very low level, only at about 1 times 10 to the minus 7 molar for each. And look, whenever you form one, you have to form the other, so their concentrations are actually going to be the same. Okay? Now, there's something that it's going to be very useful to us, and that has to do with something called Kw, which is defined as the ion product constant of water. What it means is whenever you have an acid or a base in water, the total concentration of the hydronium ions times the total concentration of the hydroxide ions is going to equal 1 times 10 to the minus 14. All right? Now, that is going to be really key because it's going to allow us to actually calculate, for instance, the amount of hydroxide ions in an acid or base solution given the hydronium ions, and vice versa. So give me a second and we shall try that. Let's see. Oh, Scott, wake up. There we go. Okay, let's see. So let's take a quick look at a calculation. So in the notes I put 0.0001 molar HCl, and then we want to find what is the concentration of hydroxide ions in a solution that's 0.0001 molar HCl. Well, here's the thing. We're only dealing with strong acids here. Why? Because they completely dissociate. And it's really beyond the scope of honors chem to deal with weak acids for the quantitative stuff. Okay, if you take AP Chem or you take Chem in college, you'll have to deal with weak acids because you'll be using things called, there's an ionization constant that will come into play. We're not going to use that. We're just going to do the simple stuff, okay? So the question is, how can we figure out what the concentration of the hydronium ions are? Well, we know that they have to equal 1 times 10 to the minus 14. When I say they, that is the product of the hydrogen ions or hydronium ions times the concentration of the hydroxide ions. So we know that hydroxide concentration times this, it's easier to write 1, 2, 3, 4. It's easier to write 1 times 10 to the minus 4 molar. Yeah, don't even need molar because of the concentration brackets. So those of you who have actually learned how to work with exponents, you might know that when you multiply 2 things together, you add the exponents. So really when we're solving, this is really easy. So our hydroxide ion concentration is going to be nothing more than basically, or when you divide them, you'll subtract them. So we'll have 1 times 10 to the minus 14 divided by 1 times 10 to the minus 4, and subtracting a negative will give you 1 times 10 to the minus 10 as our hydroxide ion concentration. So using this formula, we can figure out how many hydroxide ions are in solution, how many hydrogen ions or hydronium ions, they mean the same thing, are in the solution. So let's take one more look. We worked that one out, and we've got one other problem that we can work out. Pretty simple. Okay. The other problem I wanted to work out was, let's suppose we have a 0.035 molar solution of HCl. And we're trying to find out what the concentration of the hydroxide is again. So we're just going to use this. Remember, it's a strong acid, so it 100% dissociates. Okay? And that's got to be 1 times 10 to the minus 14. Since this has 1 hydrogen per compound, the concentration of the hydrogen ions, which is the same as the hydronium ions, has to be the same. So we just plug in 0.035 molar equals 1 times 10 to the minus 14. Divide both sides by this. And you come up with a magic number of 2.9 times 10 to the minus 13 molar is our concentration of hydroxide. All right? So pretty simple. Now, the reason why we went over this today is because we're trying to lead into pH, which we'll talk about probably in 2 classes. I wanted to also show you this because this is going to lead you into the online sim that you'll be doing next with the worksheet. So that'll be the next assignment. All right? Thanks.